educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate you for tuning in. You know, one of the things that I've been struggling with lately is very interesting, but I'm going to give you a little story because I think I've lost it. But I'm going to go backwards first. How many of you remember being in elementary school? I know based off of my one classroom, I believe it was it was sixth grade. I'm sorry, it was sixth grade. And it's a nice spring day. And it's close to my birthday, and I always feel energized when it's my birthday time. I mean, I'm a spring baby. My birthday is in April. And I remember this one day of being in class, and I don't know what was going on out within the classroom. I don't remember, and what I do remember is that my teacher, sometimes in the afternoon, would turn off the lights. They would still teach and whatnot, but it was a nice spring, really, really nice spring day, and I remember looking outside. As I'm looking outside, you know, I get lost in thought. My brain goes off into looking at the birds and wondering what they were doing and where they were going. Then I had started looking at the clouds. And you're probably saying to yourself, Maurice, like, how do you remember this? Like, listen, this was like it happened yesterday. Because of the desire to wanting to be outside, if you will, and just to enjoy the sun beaming down and shining and the birds and even just the peace and quiet, because it wasn't recess time, so nobody else was outside. So it was nice and quiet. And my teacher in sixth grade, he was not a very loud individual. So his voice or whatever he was talking about did not necessarily disturb me. But I vividly recall this day because I had this is the first time I can remember paying attention to the birds and the sky, and how relaxed I felt in this situation and my desire to be elsewhere. But the reality is that I was in school, and I believe this was probably one of the first times that I can clearly remember of losing focus on what I was supposed to be doing. How many of you out there have had these type of distractions or these moments of lapse, if you will, in focus? You know, I recall also having this very same situation of staring outside the window, of me working in an office building. And the window, actually, I can think of two now I'm thinking about it, but let me talk about the first one. The next one would have been the working in a hospital office building. And our office, we had a shared office, being old patient rooms that were converted to offices. And we had 2 desks. And the window was behind me, literally behind me. And so in order for me to look outside the window, I had to turn all the way around in order to look out the window. So once again, beautiful day outside, getting lost in the sunshine. The next time I can remember would be my very first job outside of high school. And in this particular place, there were very, very high cubicles that had high walls. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. And in order for me to look outside the window, I had to peek my head outside of the wall. So even if I had the blinders on, if you will, to keep me working, focused, and separated, I still found a way to get distracted, to lose focus. So I'm curious, how many of you today find yourself being distracted in that place, or finding moments or lapses in focus? It's not easy to always get back on track. Trust me, I understand. The way I had gone back on track was a snap or a call to attention being, Maurice, are you there? How many of you need that today? How many of you need that wake-up call, if you will, that phone call, that snap or that clap to get you back on track? What is your why? What is your your reason for doing what you're doing? It's easy to get lost. What you consider beauty, right? It's easy to get lost in what you consider relaxation. It's easy to get lost in fantasizing, right? Or wanting or wishing or whatever it is. But what is it that you need to do today to get back on track? To get to re-energize that focus, to understand that, hey, you know what? I need to do this in order to experience that more often and more frequently, and for a longer period of time. So I challenge you today to understand what that is. And in this moment, because of the changes in my lifestyle, eating, fasting, just refocusing, if you will, retargeting and understanding my why, my focus has changed. So I'm going to probably write a book about focus. That's really something that I'm interested in. How many of you are looking to maybe you need to write a book yourself? Maybe that will help you get focused. Maybe you need to write a journal. Maybe you need to get the Well, Why Not? I Can Do It journal right now on Amazon to help you organize your thoughts. Maybe that's something that you need to consider. I encourage you to refocus yourself during this time. Some of us have changed the clocks, forward, backward, whatever it is. I believe it's forward, it's spring forward. Some of us have changed the clock. So the time change can affect you and affect your rhythm. The getting up and it's still being dark outside. You leave and it's still dark outside and you're not necessarily awake 100%. But what needs to happen in order for you to snap into rhythm? What is it? I encourage you today to figure that part out. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?